Okay, welcome back. It's Monday. This is a critical lecture to be listening. I'm going to go over your final deadline date. Here, put your phone away, please. Final deadline date for taking assignments for this semester. Okay, so I have been flex for you guys all semester long, right? You submit it, I grade it, right? But June 2nd is my hard deadline. Okay, so I'm just giving you a little heads up that just a few weeks away, the hard deadline, June 2nd, which is a Monday. I give you through the weekend. 11:59 p.m. the night before, okay, is the final deadline for my class for all assignments. Okay, the only thing that will happen after that are the assignments that are issued after that. So you'll do the Top Chef activity. Okay, that's the last time, folks. All right, you'll do the Top Chef. Wesley, sit over here, please. You'll do the Top Chef activity the following week. You'll have a course feedback survey that you'll complete the following week, and then you will do cleaning, deep cleaning in here that is graded. Okay, those are the three assignments that are graded after the second. But other than that, everything else needs to be submitted. Okay, and so June 2nd, 11:59 p.m. that Monday. Reminder also, May 26th is Memorial Day, so you're off on Memorial Day, okay? And I'm going to get into walking you through. I'm going to do the lecture for the week, and I'm going to get into the Top Chef activity. Super important, okay, that you listen as I walk through the mechanics of that project. It's a significant portion of your grade. It is your final in this class. Question. When is the last day of school? Yeah, we just had a conversation at lunch. I think it's the 11th. All right, the 11th. I don't know why they have a snowflake on the calendar on the 12th, but I guess that's if a snow day still happens, then we'll use that as a snow makeup day. So the 11th is a half day, I believe, and that is our last day of school. All right. All right. So, with that being said, we are, as was mentioned, we are 78% of the way through the semester. Okay. All right. And so, keep your eye on the prize. We do still have, as you can see, I mentioned the June 2nd deadline at 11:59 p.m. And we do have a substantial number of people, all right, failing. We have 7 people in this particular section failing. Okay. So that's about 15-20% of us. That's significant. Okay, we need to work on that. I know that a number of you are in the 40-50% ranges, and we need to flip the switch. And a couple people dropped down into an F on Friday when I inputted grades. So let's engage that. I will give you time today to work on your Chromebooks. You'll have time to work on Ruby. You'll have time to work on any other outstanding assignments. Okay. So, that being said, our learning target for today and this week, and I will have you grab a pen, is I and we will learn and apply dry heat cooking method. We're doing the stir fry cooking technique this week. I love that. Okay, continuing on. So I and we will learn and apply dry heat cooking method. So we're going to be doing. We did moist heat cooking method already with the chicken stroganoff. It was a combination heat because we did the dry heat, searing it, and then we did the moist heat, cooking it in the chicken stock, right? And so we're doing dry heat, which means you're just using a saute pan, you're browning the chicken, you're adding the asparagus, so on and so forth. I'll do a demo on this, or not asparagus, broccoli. Tomorrow I'll do a demo, okay? Um, so, broccoli chicken stir fry is the recipe for this week. You've got 2 lessons, introduction to stir frying and how to stir fry. You'll be doing in Ruby. You'll have time today to work on that. Okay. The other thing is, I'm going to talk briefly about the stir frying cooking technique, and then everything else that I covered already was in the combination heat cooking technique lecture. Can you go ahead and put your phone away, please? All right. So, stir frying technique. The bottom line is this: it's you typically naturally tender cuts of meat. Okay. So it's going to be from the rib area. If you remember when I talked about the whole animal, the legs, the rump, the shoulder area are less tender. more connective tissue, more muscle. The rib area of the animal, the center area of the animal is the more tender area. Chicken is sort of an exception. I mean, chicken thigh, if you cut it and you saute it, it's still quite tender. Okay, it's a small bird. It's not so large. Whereas if you compare it to a pig or a cow or something like that, way more connective tissue to scale. And so naturally tender cuts, the center of the animal, it's a high heat. It's a high heat cooking technique, okay? But the one thing is, you need to be careful this week not to heat the oil up too much. That when you add the food to it, that it spatters up and ignites, okay, and creates a flame. So you don't want the pan to be that hot. Bright colors, vibrant, seasonal, and focus is often a very good substitute if you wanted to do. This time of the year, it's great to instead of doing the broccoli chicken stir fry, you could do an asparagus chicken stir fry. Asparagus is at its peak right now in the stores. And then using a seasoned vessel, a vessel that's sealed and seasoned, so when you cook in it, it doesn't stick, okay? And I already talked about this, the moist heat, dry heat, combination heat cooking methods. We talked about the different parts of the animal, what's more and less tender. Okay, so I'm going to move on, all right? And I'm going to show you this quick demonstration here, cooking on a wok.
From idea to submission, empower students to do their best work with Grammarly's comprehensive AI writing assistance.
Today, we want to take a break from our
fairly similar to what we're doing, all right? And you're going to add the cornstarch and marinate the protein in the cornstarch. It's going to help it serve as a tenderizer as well.
Usual recipe-driven videos and really zero in on stir-fry technique. We'll show you 4 different ways that you can stir-fry. First, a basic ingredient-by-ingredient stir-fry. Second, how you do the same thing, only without a wok. Third, how you'd stir-fry with all the ingredients together. And finally, the common restaurant technique of pre-cooking the meat with a brief deep fry. To minimize confusion, we'll be showing all this with one dish, a simple, classic home cooking stir-fry of pork and chilies called Qingjiao Rou Si. But before we get into it, a quick word on heat source. See, if you talk to a lot of people in the West, they'll insist that it's somehow impossible to stir-fry without a high-powered restaurant stove, which, to be frank, is nonsense. This is the little burner that we use for these videos, and this is the flame it makes. No jet engine here. If I've done my math right, it's a shade under 10,000 BTUs. By comparison, a Western home stove usually clocks in around 7,000, Chinese home stove 14,000, a Western professional range 30,000, and those Chinese restaurant jet engines 100,000 or even higher. Now those stoves are cool, but much more important is your technique. So don't fret if you've got a wimpy range, you're still well within the margin of error for most stir-fries. So to get started, we're using 150 grams of pork loin. Pork is vastly easier to work with than beef or chicken, so if you're new to stir-frying, start with pork. Now we'll be slicing this into slivers against the grain. The grain is the direction of the muscle fibers. What you want to do is slice down perpendicular to those fibers. So first cut into the pork to get roughly 2mm wide sheets, and for some stir-fries you could stop there, but for this one we'll stack all those up and cut into them about 3mm apart to get some slivers. Transfer that over to a bowl, and we can marinate. This sort of marination, sometimes called velveting in English, and it's critical to a good stir-fry. For this amount of meat, we'll add in a 1/4 teaspoon salt and a 1/2 teaspoon sugar. This makes the meat juicier, just like a dry brine would. We'll also toss in a 1/2 teaspoon liaojiu, aka Shaoxing wine, and if you can't find this sort of wine, most people suggest dry sherry, but I'd personally reach for some sort of rice wine instead. Next up is a 1/2 teaspoon cornstarch. This is crucially important as it'll coat the pork and prevent moisture loss, and I personally like to mix the starch with the wine before tossing them in to prevent clumps. Then to season, we'll add in a 1/4 teaspoon soy sauce. Here we're using dark soy sauce for color, but regular soy sauce would work just fine. Once all that's combined, squirt in about a teaspoon of oil and coat that well, and set it aside for at least 15 minutes to marinate. For this particular stir-fry, we'll be frying that pork together with 100 grams of chilies. We live in China, so these are Sichuan Argenteuo chilies, but feel free to use whatever is convenient and tasty where you live. Juliennes and poblanos, Anaheims, jalapenos, green bell peppers, really whatever. For aromatics, we've got an inch of ginger, smash it, julienne, then get it into a fine mince, and 2 cloves of garlic, smashed, julienned, and gotten into a fine mince. And now, to stir fry. So a nice first step to a stir fry is a technique called Long Yao, or Huaguo in Mandarin. It's a restaurant technique that'll get you a nice slippery frying surface. In restaurants, before frying, they'll heat their wok till it's super hot, add in some oil, swirl it around, and drain it into a dedicated side oil bowl. We know that most people don't keep an extra oil bowl lying around their kitchen, so instead we like to get our wok piping hot, about steak searing temperature, shut off the heat, add in the oil we need to fry in, so here about 2 tablespoons, and give it a swirl to get a nice nonstick surface. So with your flame on high now, toss in the marinated pork slivers. Break them apart with some chopsticks, cause slivers tend to clump, and fry for about 1 minute until 90% done. This step-by-step stir fry helps ensure that each ingredient is perfectly cooked, so once the color's visibly turned, set that aside. Now do another long yao with about 1 or 2 tablespoons of oil, and immediately after finishing, toss in the garlic and the ginger over the same high heat. You want to add your aromatics basically seconds after adding the oil, or else they can burn on you. After about 15 seconds, pour a tablespoon of liaojiu or your wine of choice over your spatula and around the sides of the wok. This will cool everything down, so quick mix and go in with the chilies. Fry this for about 30 seconds, then add back the pork. Quick 15-second fry, then season with a teaspoon of soy sauce and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Give it a brief toss if you can, shut off the heat, and drizzle in a teaspoon of toasted sesame oil. Quick mix, and
As you can see, it's a fast method, tender, fresh, vibrant vegetables, really simple cooking technique, and a little bit of sauciness to it.
out. Pork and chilies, done.
My friends laughed at me for buying this, and now they ask me where I got this. So I almost made the dumbest mistake of my life. I got this handcrafted Japanese-like kitchen knife.
Now, suppose you don't own a wok. I like woks, and so should you, but you can still stir fry without one. This is a 28cm nonstick wok, which is basically a glorified nonstick skillet. This is all more or less the same, only no need to really do that whole long yao routine. Just heat stuff up like you're used to, high heat, and add in the oil. Pork in, same 1 minute fry, and reserve. Then with the flame back on high, swirl in a touch of cool oil and toss in the aromatics. 15-second fry, then swirl in that liaojiu wine. This will annoyingly be kind of messy, which is why woks are better. Toss in your sliced chilies, fry that for about 45 seconds. Tossing will help the pan cook more evenly, but it does take a touch longer. Then go in with your pork and fry for about 30 seconds. Then season with your teaspoon of soy sauce and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Quick toss, heat off, teaspoon toasted sesame oil, brief mix, and out. No wok, same exact thing, just a bit more kitchen to scrub down after. Now, if you've ever eaten on the street in China, usually you'll find that vendors don't cook in stages, but instead do everything in one pot. Still dead simple to execute. Same exact method as stir-frying that pork, but once it's about 80% finished, scooch it up the side of the wok. Add in a touch of cool oil, aromatics in, fry for about 15 seconds, then mix everything together. Add your wine over the spatula and around the sides of the wok, chilies in, 30-second fry, seasoning in, quick toss, heat off. Sprinkle in your sesame oil, give it a mix, and out. Finally, let's talk the deep frying method. This technique is also called passing through oil. It's a go-to method for restaurants and makes for super juicy, tender meat. For this one, we'll also crack half an egg white into the marinade, which further tenderizes our pork. Egg white marinades tend to stick to the wok if you're using one of the previous methods, but work brilliantly while deep frying. So in a round bottom wok, get a cup or so of oil up to 180 centigrade and toss in the marinated pork. Fry that for about 20 seconds. Round bottom woks are awesome for deep frying, but you could also use a little more oil and shallow fry in a pan instead. Pour out the oil and reserve the pork. Now I figure some of you might want to know how to add a sauce to your stir fry, so let's make one real quick. To 3 tablespoons of water, add in a half teaspoon stock concentrate, or alternatively just use stock if you got some on hand. Add in your seasoning, so here that was our 1/4 teaspoon salt and our teaspoon of soy sauce. Then in a separate bowl, make a slurry of a half tablespoon cornstarch and just enough water to let it come together, about 1 teaspoon. If you want a saucier stir fry, add more stock and cornstarch. If you just want a touch of sheen, add less. So go through the motions just like we did before, but when you'd add the seasoning, lower the flame to medium and add the sauce instead. Quick mix, then go in with the slurry. And once that's thickened up, about 15 seconds, take it out. Qingjiao rosi, done.
So I want to talk a little bit about wok hei.
I'm going to skip this conversation about the walk, but okay, so that's it for what we're doing this week. So again, all right, well, mise en place. This is a little bit more of an extensive recipe, so I can't remember if I had this in a 2 or 3 day format, but we might be in a 3 day format that we're getting going tomorrow. So what I want to do now is I want to open up the Top Chef, okay, activity requirements. So right here in Google Classroom, and ladies, all right, I need you to listen to me, okay? All right, Bryn, keep your phone away. If I see it again, you're going to the office, all right? All right, so I want you to listen to what I'm saying because this is your final in the class. So it's an imperative that you plan accordingly. So listen to what I'm covering right now, okay? So in Google Classroom, you're going to see under week 18, Top Chef activity. If I expand the Top Chef activity, all right, the overview is there. The overview is there. I'm going to read the overview to you in just a second. As I open it up, you're going to see overview, directions, and tips. I'm going to go over all of those right now. You're going to see some attached documents, okay? You got this information about Bloom's taxonomy. This activity in particular is an opportunity for you to live in this area: creation, evaluate, and analyze, okay? Typically in this class, we've remembered, understood, and applied, okay, with a little bit of analysis with your slats. We're going to live in the top of Bloom's taxonomy for this particular activity, okay? You've got some information about pantry, essentials, ingredients, how to create a balanced menu. That's important, okay? So looking at the sort of the food guide, looking at ingredients here for the pantry, looking at the balanced plate model, thinking about vegetables, protein, and starch, okay? And how to maintain a balance there. All of this information is here for you to prepare for this activity. Now, under here is your slat. All right, so I'm going to open up the slat. I'm going to go to full screen view. All right, and you're going to have an opportunity here, okay? You're going to use the slat to plan for the Top Chef activity. You're going to use this slat to plan for the Top Chef activity. So right here, I'm going to read the first slide to you. This creative project serves as an opportunity for you to reflect on your previous theory, okay, that's Ruby in this class, and the applied learning labs in this course, and to apply higher order learning related to analyzing, evaluating, and creation. You are encouraged to go over the top, right? I mean, I want you to invest in this seriously. Have fun with the project to prepare 4 identical plates of food, okay? Same menu, all 4 of them looking the same, presenting the same. This will serve as an opportunity to reflect on learning, okay, at the top of Bloom's taxonomy, as I just went over. Be sure that you document the entire planning, preparation, cooking, and final presentation process with photos, okay, to evidence your learning on your slat, as this is a requirement of the project. So the day that you submit your 4 plates of food to me, and I'm going to tell you what day you're doing that in just a moment, the day that you're submitting that food to me, that's going to be your grade. I'm going to tell you, you got 95 out of 100, or 82 out of 100. And I have a rubric that I'll grade it, okay? Wait. Okay, just keep your hands to yourself, right? So, yeah, why are you looking at me like I don't know what I'm talking about? Just keep your hands to yourself from Joe, all right? Just leave them alone. All right? I know, just stop, okay? So the idea is that I'm going to give you the score, okay? You're going to earn that score, but if you do not submit your final slat, you do not receive the score. You'll get a 0 on the project, okay? So the slat is a requirement, and I'm going to walk through what the requirements are within the slat here in just a moment. All the images must be original to the project, hence the inclusion of previously taken images should not be part of this project. Okay, tips. Utilize the Top Chef planning sheet. That's what I'm going through right now. It's in a slide deck format, just like all of the other slats. Okay, Ms. Monk? All right? Just sit still and listen, please. All right? Okay, deadlines. Your deadline is not actually on Monday because of the holiday. Your deadline is next Friday to get your menu and your shopping list completed to me. So you have the 5 days this week and 5 days next week to plan, because we're off that following Monday. Okay, we're off the 26th for Memorial Day. So the 23rd is your deadline to have dialed in your menu. Today is the beginning of this project, okay? That means that today you can start talking about it whenever you want between now and next Friday. Get the menu identified, consult me, get feedback from me. All of that is fair game in the next 2 weeks. But Friday the 23rd is your deadline for this final activity, okay? You're welcome but not required to bring ingredients from home. I know I heard these guys talking about they want to bring in steak and lobster, but let me make it clear. Let me make this clear. I'm not looking for steak and lobster. I'm not looking for you to try to impress me with ingredients. I want you to simply execute good cooking techniques, good food safety sanitation techniques. No, you can't just do a salad, and I'm going to tell you why. Just listen. Just listen right now, okay? Don't think about what you want to make yet. Just listen to me, all right? All right, so you're going to identify if you prefer a chicken breast or chicken thigh on the shopping list. You can substitute another protein if you want to bring one in, but that is not a requirement, okay? And if you are going to bring lobster tail, you better know how to cook lobster tail. Yeah, I think you know how to cook lobster tail. I'm just saying, you should keep it simple, okay? All right? So, 3 distinctive cooking techniques. You need a cooking technique for the vegetable. You need a cooking technique for your starch and a cooking technique for your protein. 3 different techniques, but 4 of the same plates, right? No casseroles, no breakfast, no tacos, no salads, no sandwiches, no pizza. All right? The reason being is this, okay? All of those dishes are integrated in nature, okay? All right? I want to see 3 definitive cooking techniques on that plate when it comes to me. I want to see a pan frying, a poaching, and a pilaf style, rice or whatever it is, stir frying and pilaf, whatever it is. But you need to demonstrate 3 different techniques. I don't want to see just everything cooked in one pot. I don't want to see a casserole that everything's put in the pan and thrown into the oven. You're not demonstrating skill to me there. You're demonstrating the ability to throw ingredients together and put them in the oven. That's not what I'm looking for, okay? I'm looking for 3 definitive techniques. You're going to gather the ingredients from the pantry. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, okay? The Tuesday following, the week following this activity, the deadline, that week following, you can begin starting to gather your ingredients. Your organization points will be deducted if you run late on that day that you deliver, okay? And I'm going to give you your delivery days in just a minute. But the day that you deliver the food, if you are not cleaned up by the time the bell rings, you'll start to lose points every minute, okay? All right? Bring any tools or equipment from home that you'd prefer to use here. You're welcome to do that. And then review techniques, okay? Leverage Ruby and Google and other resources that you've had in this class to figure out the cooking techniques that you want to apply. Utilize, as I said, the Top Chef planning and reporting SLAT, okay, to plan, okay? So use the template that I'm going to go over here. As I'm going through this, I'm going to go over it. Use this template. Read the selected recipes. You're going to have recipes that you found on your own, okay? You're going to read those recipes in full. Do make sure, listen, make sure everybody's involved, okay? Don't leave people out. If people are absent, bring them back into the fold. Make sure everybody's involved. Everybody needs to be assigned responsibilities. It's a team activity. Ensure that your team is prescribing to 3, as I said, techniques. Insert the required learning evidence pictures into this SLAT. Complete the reflection slide. There's only 1 reflection slide, and then submit it in Google Classroom to me. The activity is going to begin with this template, right? When I hit escape here, you're going to see this is just a standard template. You're going to use this particular slide to figure out what you want to make, okay? So you're going to ask these questions, team reflection and planning. What do we prefer? What are the things that we like in this class? Make some notes. What are the things that we like to cook at home or in the industry, right? Make some notes. Through that, you can figure out what you want to prepare. But you got to have that conversation, okay? Oh, I've liked these 3 things from this semester. Are those 3 things that we all might have consensus around, okay? So you're going to type your menu into here. All right? Then here, you're going to go ahead and insert pictures. If you have a picture of a recipe, you can just use insert and insert it, or you can just drop a hyperlink into the box. Okay, you're going to insert the recipes that you've selected, not ones. Now, you can use recipes from this class. That's absolutely fine. Okay, but if you find your own recipes, you got to insert them there. By next Friday, the 23rd, by the time you leave class, your menu needs to be typed into this box for all the people on your station in each one of your individual slats. All right. Here's an example of how to write the menu, and you need to highlight in green the 3 cooking techniques that you're using. If you need an example menu, you can click here and go to the Wildfin menu and get some ideas from that in terms of how to write a menu item for a restaurant. Okay? Follow the directions. Okay, just as I say when you submit your Ruby slats or your lab slats, read the directions on the slide. Okay? It tells you exactly what to do. Type your menu as it would appear on a restaurant menu, including a protein, vegetable, and starch. Highlight the techniques in green. Okay, just read the directions, all right? It's not rocket science. Here, directions. Type in the ingredients and amounts for each category, okay? So you got protein category, dry goods, dairy, and produce, and write the amounts. You would do this together. Don't do it independently. Do it together, right? Because everybody's going to submit the same answers. Here, you're going to draw. There's paper and pencils, coloring pencils over here, okay? You're going to use those, and you're going to draw. You're going to think about how you want to lay out the presentation. You're going to draw it with colored pencils. You're going to import that picture. Take a picture of it and import it into here. You're going to identify, just as you do every week on the back of your recipe, every week you should be telling me who's going to do what. You do very good with that, okay? You're going to identify your team members and what tasks they're assigned to. Okay, the idea, 80% of this project is planning, okay? 20% is execution. And then your standard P, O, S, and T, but the T is different in that there's 3 T slides. One for the protein, showing me the technique for the protein. One for the vegetables, showing me the vegetable technique. See it right up here, vegetable. And then one for the starch, showing me the starch technique. You do the reflection slide and you're done. Okay? That will need to be submitted the week that we complete this assignment. All right, now I'm going to tell you what day that you're presenting, and the reason why I'm choosing these days is because we have seniors in the class, and the seniors are done with school, from what I'm understanding, on the 4th. Okay, so for your class, period number 5, teams 1, 3, and 4 have to present. I'm sorry, period 4. Sorry, I'm reading it. Sorry. Thank you. Period 4. Okay, teams 1, 3, and 4 are going to present on Wednesday, okay, and that is Wednesday, June 4th, okay. Period 4, all right, on Thursday is going to be 2 and 5. Did you hear me? Thursday, 2 and 5, and then Friday, 3 and 6. Wait, Addie, you're grad, right? All right, no, I'm sorry. 1, 3, 4, 2, 5, and 6 is Friday. Okay. 1, 3, 4 is on Wednesday. 2, 5 is on Thursday, and 6 is on Friday. Okay. The reason why I distribute this out is simply because I can't eat, 30 plates of food in one day. Okay. All right. So seniors teams go on Wednesday. Everybody else goes on Thursday and Friday. All right, hold on. I'm going to take questions. I'm not done. Just simmer down. Okay. All right. I'm gonna answer questions in a minute. Let me just finish the presentation. So when I go back I finished going through the slat. The other thing that's required, as I said, next Friday when you leave class, is your shopping list. So you see here, period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right here, period 4, you're going to type in your menu item right here. All right, right here. Team 1, that's where you guys are at. All right, you're going to tell me whether you want a chicken breast or chicken thigh. You're going to tell me whether you want broccoli or another vegetable. And if it's another vegetable, that's one of the 2 ingredients that you are picking. You get 2 wild card ingredients. If you want to choose something other than broccoli, then you're choosing a wild card ingredient. So if you're choosing a wild card ingredient, we're going to go right here, You're going to tell me the 2 ingredients that you're requesting, the amount for ingredient number 1,